So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining and welcome you all in our course Data Analysis using RProgramming. And today we are on the session number 4 and here we will discuss about R objects and data types. So, in our previous class, what we have discussed, let me give a little recap so that you all will be on the same page. So, in our previous class, we have discussed that how you can perform your general mathematical operation into R programming, and after that you saw that how you can play with the R variables, right? So you saw that declaration, variable declaration and their methods, and after that you saw that how you can define the variable names, which is called as variable naming conventions. So and also we have covered about operators, and we look for the case sensitivity part of our programming. Okay, so these things we have discussed in our previous classes. Now, in today's class, because we have covered few things which is related to the objects, okay, and data types. Like in our last discussion, someone had some questions related to the survey questionnaires and their types. So related to that, today's session is almost close to that particular question, and here we will discuss about what are the different types of data and how this data is being stored into the memory, and how we can assess different object type, okay, on that particular data variables. Right. So let me start. So firstly, let me clean all these details. Okay, so how I will clean that? You guys already know that. I will just use rm list is equal to ls. Okay, ls is basically a command. Okay, again let me give a little detail about this ls command. So ls is basically used for. Okay, so perfect. So ls is basically used for just looking the object, how many objects are there. Okay, what are the objects? I will tell you in a minute. Okay, so ls, and there's a one more function which is called as objects, right? So these two things are working as a same, and return you back the outputs as the number of variables what you had specified into the programming. Okay, so before starting any of the programming activities, you should to use it to clean the memory. Okay, so that whatever the memory is busy with the objects what already been created, this can be released, and it will be free, so that our program will be run very efficiently. This should be a ideal practice as a good programming practice, right? So how you will clean these things? You have one command called rm is basically used for remove the objects. So like for example, here you are seeing a a is defined as a variable and having value 0, so you can use a over here in the editor, rm a, right? So and in this way you can remove this particular variable. Okay, similarly if you wanted to delete all those things at a one go, okay, so you can create these things in this way, like rm and inside the bracket list is equal to ls. Okay, so this will remove all those objects in a one go. Okay, let me run it. See here, automatically all my environment is removed. It means that we saved whatever the memory these things were taking, right? So in this way I just remove this particular details. Again, just for removing the console, because this is also taking such some memory. Okay, so to remove this as well, so we have a very good code, cat 014. Okay, so I will tell you in our later sessions that what exactly meant by this particular command. Okay, but for now, please remember these two commands, because these commands will help you out just to clean this environment as well as clean this console. Okay, let me run it. So another way of doing this particular thing clean, okay, you can press Control plus L. Okay, Control plus L. Let me write it over here. Ctrl plus L. Okay, so this is the shortcut key you can apply and cleaning this particular console window. Okay, other than this, what you can do, you can always click on this particular clear console. Okay, and it will automatically clean it. Okay, so there are three ways are there. You can use any of the way just to clean and release or accommodate the memory, right? So let me run it. See, automatically it is being deleted, and you can also press the Control plus L so that this thing will be created cleaned from here, right? Now coming to the actual thing. So in today's discussion I wanted to discuss about R objects. Okay, so what is basically R objects? So anything which are creating in R is called as R object. Okay, so anything what you are creating, anything which you are creating in R is called as R object, right? So what you are basically creating, okay, you may create data, okay, you may create data, you may create variable, okay, you may create function, okay. These three things majorly you are creating using your programming, okay. These things majorly you create using your programming part, right? So data, variable and functions. So how you will create the data? So for example, let me call a inbuilt data set over here. Iris is a inbuilt data. Okay, I'll tell you about this part as well in a later sessions. Okay, so see here data. So automatically a data set I had created. So see here in the environment automatically that that data set is created. Okay, and how it looks like you can see here that data. This is the data. Okay, and let me show you the variable. Okay, so how you can view this data particularly? So you have one command which is called as view. Okay, view, and you need to pass the data set over here. So data set name is dat, right? So you can apply command view function, and inside the view function you can specify dat. So in that way you can just click run, control plus enter. You can see this data set is created over here, right? And also if you don't want to use this particular command, okay, function, you can click over here, automatically it will open it, right? By default you can see here it is applying a command view in bracket that, right? So this is the way how you can see the data, and this is the way how you can create the data, right? So this data is also one object. Now another object is type variable. Yeah, please, if anyone have any questions, maybe, yeah, please, yeah, ask Richard.
Yes, please. Please, is this data creation the same as data stimulation?
Yeah, so data simulation and all, I will tell you maybe in the later sessions how you can create the data. Today I am discussing about our object. So since data is a one object as well, that is why I'm just showing you by just calling a inbuilt data set which is available in our R based programming. Okay, but yeah, answer to your question. So you can create the data set using the simulation activities. You can generate the data using you can import the data from the different databases like Microsoft Excel, maybe SQL Server, maybe Apache, maybe Spark. Okay, you can take data from anywhere. You can itself generate the data inside the R programming. Okay, anywhere anyways you can create the data. Okay, so I will cover this part in our later sessions, but right now my target was just to introduce you about R objects. So in the terms of R objects, basically data is also an one object. That is why I'm just telling that how you can create the data and how the data will look like over here. Okay, now coming to the second thing, second variable, second object which is called as variable. So let's suppose you created a variable age, okay, and you are storing the value 34 over here, right? So see here, automatically a second type is creating values age and 34, right? So basically this is also a one object type. Okay, now coming to the third object type which is function. So I will create a function like maybe func, okay, function, and maybe in that way. Okay, see here, automatically a function is also being created over here, right? So these three things are basically all together is called as R objects. So now let me summarize what are the R objects. Anything which you are creating in R is called as R object, right? An object will be of majorly three types, like data, okay, data set. So you can see here data set is also comes under the environment, and this is also one object type. Variable, so I created a variable, this is also storing over here age. Okay, so this is also one object, and I created a function, so function is also a one object, right? So now this is called these things together combined is called as R object. Okay, so now uh, data can be of many types. Okay, data can be of many types, like for example I will tell you about vector, I will tell you about matrix, okay, I'll tell you about array. Okay, these are basically data structure. Okay, vector, matrix, array, data frame, and list. Okay, list and factor. Okay, so these are basically data set types of data sets. Okay, vector is also a data set. Matrix is also one another type of data set. Array is also one another type of data set. Similarly, we have so many types of data structures. Okay, where we will place our data. So those things will be come here. This will take place in this particular area. Okay, so now coming to the attributes of R. So what are the properties of an R object? Okay, attributes attributes of our object. Okay, so what are the attributes? So basically object, our object is having two types of attributes, majorly two types of attributes we are having. One is called as intrinsic attributes. Okay, intrinsic attributes. Intrinsic is basically tells you about belonging to naturally. Okay, belonging to naturally, how naturally property is. This is called as intrinsic attribute of the R object. Another is called as extrinsic attribute. Okay, extrinsic means which is artificially being created. Okay, or you can say can be modified, can be modified. Right, so there are two attributes of our object. One is called as intrinsic attributes. Another type of attributes is called as extrinsic attributes. Right. So remember, right? So uh, let's suppose you created a variable. Let's suppose age is equal to 34. Let's say. Okay. So what is the internal process? Okay, how these things are being created into how you can see that age is created. Age is a variable, and this is having the value 34. What it meant? Think a little bit and do a brainstorming. What exactly meaning that age is equal to 34? Okay, what is the meaning? It means that you are having a machine, right? You are having a machine, and machine is nothing but an electronic device. Okay, everything whatever you are creating, working, anything, right? Everything is in the digital signals, right? So like you created a variable called age is equal to 34, it means this is also an electronic signal. Okay, so since this is an attribute into the programming, right? So it means that whatever the attributes we are having, these are also sharing the similar kind of property as the electronic signal have, right? So here what I can say, age is equal to 34. Since this is a variable, so it will also have two types of property. One is intrinsic, one is extrinsic. It means that there will be something which is related to intrinsic property. There is something which is related to the extrinsic property, right? So three things I will tell you. One is called as mode. Okay, and another thing I will call you about class, and another thing I will tell you about type of. Okay, so three things are there, right? So when you are creating a variable age is equal to 34, okay, age is equal to 34. So what is the process happened? It will convert these things into some electronic signals, and it will store this electronic signal into our memory. Okay, what the RAM I am using, or what the hard disk I am using, this is going to be stored into that particular location somewhere. Okay, this will store this data at somewhere. So how these things store inside the memory? Okay, how a particular variable is stored into the memory, inside the memory, these things you can assess using the mode function. Okay, mode function, it means that this is something related to memory. Okay, this is something how the data will store into the memory, right? Now class. So class is basically a thing. Okay, maybe before telling you about the class, let me tell you about the type of. Okay, this is the another kind of attributes. So now firstly, let me again give a little more detail about mode. So as I told you, how a variable is being stored into the memory, these things you can assess using the mode function. Okay, these things you can assess into the mode function. Since you know that since memory structure is fixed, okay, this is not dynamic, this is fixed. So how it will store into the memory, this is natural. Okay, you cannot modify it at all. It means that this mode function is nothing but a intrinsic property. Okay, this is nothing but an intrinsic attribute of this particular variable. Okay, mode means using the mode function, what you can see, you can just assessing the intrinsic property of this particular variable, and this is tells you that how a variable is being stored into the memory, right? Now coming to the second functionality, which is called as type of. So type of basically tells you about that how a data set, how a data variable data set is coming from the memory, okay, into our R environment. Okay, means from memory to R environment. Okay, environment, right? For example, you can see over here, okay, this thing is this is visible to you over here, but this is also being stored into somewhere into the memory. Okay, from there it is coming to here, right? So means how these things will be look like when it will call from the R environment. Okay, call from the memory to the R environment. These things we can assess using the memory. Okay, using the sorry, type of function, right? So again, this type of since I can, let's suppose, in the numeric version, okay, you are having some numeric values, okay, like for example 2, okay, 2 or 2.0, okay, is there any difference? No, I don't think so there is any difference. On the concept level there is so many difference, okay. Concept level of computing, okay, this is having so many differences, but as per their magnitude we do not have any difference, right? 2 and 2.0 both are exactly same on the magnitude level, but if I'm talking about their constituents into the electronic signal format, this is having much more differences, right? So this type of things is called as integer, okay, this type of things is called as integer, and this type of thing is called as floating values, okay. Floating values means what the values which is being captured in a decimal format, this is called as floating point of values, right? But you can treat those two values in an operation equally, okay. So like for example, if I am performing operation like 2 into 2, okay, this will give exactly same result as 2.0 into 2.0, okay, both will give the same result, right? It means that these two things can be interchanged. So how you will call your data from memory to R environment? It means that according to your requirement, okay, you can change its type. Okay, according to your requirement, you can change its type. Okay, so it means that type of function is basically an extrinsic property. Okay, extrinsic property. Please be focused onto this topic, okay, because this is a very important topic. How you can manage the things, how you can deal with the variables, these things will be very clear from here only, right? So mode is basically related to the memory, how things will be stored into the memory. Since memory is fixed, their structure is fixed, so whatever the things, whatever the properties in written by this particular function will be the intrinsic property. But in the memory, if something is stored, you in the operation you can treat this as a integer value, you can treat this as a floating point value. This can be interchanged. That is why this type of will give you the different kind of attributes. That is why this is called as extrinsic property, right? Now coming to the third property. Third property basically gives by class function. So class is a function which actually related to, like in our later sessions I will tell you about different types of classes like S3 class, S4 class. This is basically tells you about the outer constituents. So like for example, suppose class means if you are belonging from one class, okay, you are also belonging to some other kind of categorization as well, okay. So basically class is not very dynamic, you can update it, okay, it is depend on you. That is why this is called as an extrinsic property, okay, extrinsic property, right? Extrinsic. So I will tell you, I will show you the example which will tell you about all those details. So for example, you create a variable like maybe um, sex, okay, and in this you will store the value as m, okay, let's suppose, right? So sex is a variable I had created. Over there I have stored the value male, okay. So let me check all three things, or maybe I can just I will not run this command because this is a character string part. Maybe just take a variable like example age is equal to 34. Let's say I created a variable, okay, and age is being stored, right? Age is being stored now. So how these things will look like? So as I told, so firstly, I wanted to see how this age is equal to 34 is stored into the memory, right? So I will run function called mode. Okay, I will run the function mode. Sorry, I will run the mode function over there mode, and see here mode is telling you that this particular thing is stored into the memory as numeric value, okay. And yeah, for sure this is a numeric value, okay. But you know that numeric value will be of multiple types. It may be integer type values, it may be floating point type of values. Okay, so in the memory basically this is being stored and treated as a numeric value, right? But let's see how this will operate into the programming. Okay, how this will take the part into the operation, right? So in the operation how it will take the part, so this thing I can assess using the type of function. If I will apply over here is, okay, so these things will use as a double. Okay, double is basically one type of specific data type. Okay, so double is basically in general programming language is treated as a what the value which is being having decimal value. This is called as double type of values, right? Now if I will apply over here class, okay, class, so class of age, okay, class of age, it is also showing us numeric. It means that mode how it is stored into the memory of numeric type, how it will take part into the operation as a double nature. Okay, double nature means not a two natures. Okay, double means there is a specific types of data which is having their floating values. Okay, so and the class is of numeric type. I will tell you about the class. Class is basically the outer constituent, so outer constituent is nothing but numeric type. Okay, now let's check its mutability. Okay, how mutability means just to check whether this is an intrinsic property or extrinsic property. Okay, so let me change its mode. Okay, if I wanted to change the mode, so I need to write this way and specify a value over here. Let's suppose ABC. Okay, I wanted to change its mode, so mode of age is equal to ABC. It means that I wanted to change its mode. Okay, see here, right, it is giving me error. Okay, it is giving me error, and it is telling that object as dot abc of mode function was not found. It is restricting me basically. Okay, it is restricting me that you are not able to modify this part. Okay, let me try to change this particular the outer constituents. Okay, so yeah, and this way, and let me specify abc. Okay, this is also telling you the same thing. Okay, this also you cannot change, but you can change it in a some different way. Okay, how you can change it? So like for example age is there. Okay, for now age is type of double. Okay, but I can change it in a different way. Okay, how I can change it? Let's suppose age is equal to as dot integer, and I will call age in this way. Again if I will run it, see here, type of now giving is the integer value, the same value I did. Okay, but I changed this. Okay, I changed this, that is why this is telling me about integer. Okay, maybe after some time you will have a very strong idea about those things, that what is mode and what is the type of, right? So now let me apply a class over here. Okay, in the class, okay, you can see integer. Now let's change it. Okay, let's change it, make it abc, and now it is changed. Okay, so if I will check it again, it is showing me, oh, class of age is equal to, oh, sorry, class of age is abc, right? So you saw here these two properties, type of and class, can be changed, can be mutable, right? But mode cannot be mutable, right? It is immutable property. It means that mode is basically a intrinsic property, and type of and class are basically extrinsic property that can be modified. Okay, so this is about, this is all about the attributes of our objects. So up to this point, anyone have any question or any doubt? Maybe we can discuss. Any question from the team?
Okay, so the properties
Mm-hmm.
are three: the class,
Mm-hmm.
the mode, and then the type of. Are they the properties?
Yeah, yeah. Basically, these three things are the properties of an R object. Okay, what object I had created over here. So these three things, mode, type of, and class. This will tell you three properties, whether this things is mutable, not mutable. You can able to change it, not change it. How these things will be stored into the memory. Okay, how you can use these things as into the operation. Okay, so these things you can check by using this particular properties. Class is a very different property. Okay, class is a very different property which is tells you about the outer structure of that particular object. Okay, so there are two types of classes in general we are using in our R programming. One is called as S3 class, one is called as S4 class. I'll tell you about those details in our later sessions.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, yeah, please Insa, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Please, I want to know. It's significant. So the link to data analysis
Yeah,
in
yeah,
our
yeah.
case.
Always, it's very good question. It is just because of that. So for example, maybe I can quickly just show you one demonstration. Okay. So both things are exactly same. Okay, age is equal to, in bracket we have written 34, and age is written I have in a 34. Okay, so these two things you can found those things always almost look like very similar, right? But this is not similar. Okay, they their storing medium, okay, how this will take a part into the operation, both are different. Okay, so if you are not sure about what the values are and how its properties are, okay, you cannot perform any operation into it. Okay, for that reason, because in the data analysis activities, if you are not sure that what type of variable it is and how this variable is being stored into the memory and how you will call this particular variable into your operation part, right? So you will not able to perform any data analysis activities. That is why when you are doing a programming activities, okay, you need to remember those things, that how a variable is being created, which type of variable it is, how it is being stored into the memory, and when it will be called from the memory into our real programming part, okay, how this will be perform an operation. So these four things you should be clear, right? So for example, here you can see age is equal to 34, right? So in this particular thing, I cannot perform any mathematical operation. Okay, why? Because this particular age variable is nothing but a character type. How I can see that this is a character type? I can apply, like for example, mode and age. Okay, see here, this is telling me that character. So and I know that for now I am knowing that we cannot perform any mathematical operation onto the character part. That is why I will not perform any character operation over here, right? So I can again check the type of for this particular part as well. This is also telling me character. It means that it is stored into the memory in the character format. Also, when it I call these things from the memory to here, this is also again a character. It means that we are not able to perform any mathematical operation into it. So I will not go with this part. Right now, suppose age is equal to 34 I have. So in this age is equal to 34, since this is a numeric value, okay, I can perform the operation. How I can understand this particular part, that whether this is a numeric variable or not? See here, this is telling me, this mode is telling me that this is a numeric value. Okay, numeric value means we can perform some mathematical operation into it, right? Also I can check about its type of, okay, I can check its type of age, right? It is telling me that this is a double type of values. Okay, it means that it's a decimal point of values, so I can perform any mathematical operation into it. Okay, so for that sake of interest, we should to understand before going for data analysis activities what those things are and how those things are helping me, right? So in that way these things are helping you, so that you can perform any operation into it according to their type of the data. Okay, perfect. I hope I clear your answer.
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
Okay, perfect. Now, uh, so once you are comfortable with our object, okay, so now I'm moving to new topic which is called as data types. Okay, what are the different types of data you are dealing in your day-to-day life? So let's suppose when you are creating a questionnaire, okay, when you are creating any questionnaire, so in that questionnaire maybe you are asking about name, you are asking about age, you are asking about their sex, you are asking about their address, okay. So these are the few common things. You are asking about their contact number, okay, contact, or you are asking from some questions like, for example, are you there, maybe marital status, okay, marital status, okay, or maybe you are voter, okay, voter ID card or not, maybe you are participating into the voting or not, okay. So and also you are asking about some comments or anything. So, like for example, water and sanitation or hygiene or anything, any topic you wanted to do the research for, you can collect the many more questions, many more answers from the for those questions, right? So, like for example, you are collecting name, you are collecting age, you are collecting sex, you are collecting address. So, each and everything what you are collecting it into the questionnaire, right? It is of used for different purposes. Okay, so like for example, age. Okay, so when you are collecting the age, so your intention is that you will collect the age and show the analysis, like what are the specific age group which is taking a part into good research, what is the specific age group which is not good for our research. Okay, so that type of things you can do, or what are the mean age of those persons, okay, who took participate, who are participating into this particular research. Okay, so these are the few basic things you are doing in the part of data analysis activities, right? So and sex, so sex is basically a character variable. Okay, sex is basically a character variable. Over there you are capturing like male and female. Okay, so you may want to present the analysis like how many males are there, how many females are there. Okay, what percentage of male respond to that particular question, what how percentage of the female are there who take participate into this particular survey, or whatever the analysis you wanted to present, you can present it. Similarly, address, so maybe from the address whatever the analysis like means in this particular area, or in a particular village, or in a particular city, in a particular location, this type of analysis are okay. So there is a similar kinds of analysis you can present for the address as well. Okay, marital status, that what are the how many what percentage of people are already married, or maybe going to be married. Okay, maybe any kind of analysis you can present for this part, right? So just to perform any analysis, right, you need to be sure that what type of data it is. According to, you can perform some operation into it. Okay, as I told, if you don't know about how the data will be, you cannot perform any operation into it. If you perform the operation wrongly, okay, it will mislead the result. For sure. So like for example, suppose here this is the data we are having. So it's a suppose in the code you write like for example age into 2, and you are thinking that maybe this will make it 68. Okay, this will not make it. Okay, sorry, I will run it, then it will not make it. Okay, why? Because this age is not numeric. That is why it is not performing the multiplication for this, because you know that multiplication can be performed for the numeric value only. Okay, that is why this is not performing the mathematical operation over here. Similarly, these things are of different data types. So what are the different types of data? Okay, according to that you will perform the analysis. Okay, now coming to what are the types of data we are having. Okay, so in general, okay, when we are dealing with the types of data, so firstly, one very important type of data we are dealing with, which is called as numeric type. Okay, so numeric type data. So numeric type of data basically includes the values between 0 to 9 and its combination. Okay, all the values of this particular combination is called as numeric values. Okay, these are basically digits. Okay, so like for example 0 to 9. Okay, 0 to 9 and its combination, and its range from real numbers. Okay, real numbers, or you can say real line, minus infinite to plus infinite. Whatever the value you wanted to create, you can create it by using these two numbers, 0 to 9, right? So this is called as numeric value. Now numeric value will again be classified into two parts. One is called as integer type of numeric value. Okay, integer, right? So integer is another one, first kind of numeric value, and second kind of numeric value is double type. Okay, so what are the integer values and what are the double type of values? So integer values are those values which is written in the fixed form. So like for example 12, 13, 14, 15, which those values which cannot be in the fractional notation. Okay, so these values is called as integer values, right? Similarly, double type of values, those values which have a decimal point, or you can say fractional values. This is called as double type of values. Like for example 12.67. Okay, similarly 13.89. Okay, and maybe 78.009. Okay, so these values is called as double type of values. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the double type of value as you're talking about, is it what we call as continuous data?
Yes, yeah. Basically, by default, this is called as a continuous data. Okay, but yeah, integer values is does not have the decimal values. Okay, so this is a little bit different, but those are together take a part into the numeric operations. Okay, but yeah, for so double is a continuous data, and integer is definitely a discrete data. Okay, any other question?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Yes, please.
yeah. Please go ahead.
Please, I want to find out the double and the integer. Is it based? Are they named based on what the R system understands it, or this is just
Yes,
general?
yeah, yeah. Basically, integer and double is different on the constituents level. Okay, So integer values is being stored into the memory in a different way, and double values is being stored into the memory in a different way. Okay, that is what I told. uh, the mode and type of is little bit different. Okay, so double value will store with the decimal values. Okay, decimal value will be treated into the electronic signal differently. Okay, maybe you can go ahead just to understand how a value is being stored into the memory. So like for example, 12 is there. Okay, 12 can be stored like 11001. Okay, so this is the digital format, or you can say electronic signal format of 12. Okay, maybe some other. Okay, not in this way. 1001 and 1. Okay, this is the format of 12. Okay, similarly you are having like for example 1000011000001. This is nothing but a value of 1024, right? So basically these are called as digital format of the values, right? So integer will be treated differently in by when you are converting. Okay, but decimal values will be treated as a differently. That is why, since there is a constituents is different into the memory, that is why these two things value will be treated as a differently. But as I told, those values will take part as a same magnitude. Okay, same magnitude. That is why I told type of will tell you you can change its type of, because these things can be take a same magnitude into the object into the operation level. Okay, so this is the little difference, and this is the little similarities of these things. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so I guess I don't know, probably it is the program's language. Why the age is seen as a double variable.
Sorry, come again.
I tried entering the date as a one figure, let's say 2 years or 1 year,
Okay.
and in the R program, and then it was still giving me a double. I looked at the type of, and then it gave me double. So I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
if it is by default. By
Yeah,
default.
yeah. I'll tell you about this as well. Yeah. So, like for example, it is telling you double. Okay, it is telling you double. But how you can specify this thing? As I told, double is default data type over here, right? So, how you can create an integer over here? So, what you need to do? You need to just put a L. Okay, put a L. Just after that, a is equal to 2L. So in this way you can specify it as a integer type. Okay, so when you wanted to specify the integer values, then in each of the values you need to write 2L. Okay, means L will be in the suffix. Okay, so L suffix will specify that this is nothing but a integer value, right? Other than this, if
All
you
right.
if you do not specify it, this will give you the double by default. Okay.
Okay. Thank God.
Yeah, perfect. So now moving to the another kind of data. Okay, so very good properties are here. Like for example, um, the double value, basically integer data type values in the 64-bit operating system. It is storing the value from minus 21, 47, 48, 36, and 48 to plus. Yeah. So this is the range of values can be performed operation. Okay, into 64-bit operating system. 64-bit operating system. So like for example, my machine is of 64-bit operating system. So I can process this many values, this many range of values into my machine freely. Okay. If our values is more than that, maybe this will not perform the operation. Right. Similarly, the integer 32-bit operating system will perform the operation like 2 to the power 31. Okay, to the power 31 minus 1. Okay, so this is the length of the values which can be processed using the 32-bit operating system. Okay, so these things is basically little bit means you should to understand about how a memory is being processing the things. But for sure this is not that much related to the data analysis activities. But still, if you are interested to understand about this concept, maybe you can connect me offline. I'll tell you about that, what exactly the meaning of those things, how these things are being stored into the memory. This is not that much important, but for sure, if you know this, this will always be give a edge. Okay, perfect. Now let me tell you about another kind of data. Okay, which is called as character data. Okay, so another thing is that with for the numeric data, okay, you can perform any mathematical operation. Okay, you maybe perform addition, you maybe perform subtraction, multiplication, division, whatever the operation are existing for the mathematical values, these things can be performed onto the numeric data. Okay, numeric data means maybe integer data, maybe double type of data. Okay, now another type of data structure, data type is character data type. Okay, so whatever the data, whatever the value, so like for example a to z, okay, and small a to z, and uh, digits, digits, not digits in a simple way, digits inside double quote, okay, in a double quote, okay, and any special symbol. These things are called as character values. Okay, so like for example a to z, small a to z, and digits inside the double quote and special symbols. Okay, these all are together called as character. So like for example I will specify a. Okay, a is a a is a simple character. So character will always be specified using the double quote. Okay, so like here I had written a inside the double quote. So whenever you are specifying any of the character value, you need to specify these things into the double quote. This is a general rule you need to remember. So like for example 23. So right now 23 is a numeric value, but if you just make it in a double quote, okay, maybe you can make it in a double quote. So this is called as character value over here now, right? So I can show you some examples. Okay, so like for example suppose I just store sex is equal to male. Okay, so I specify sex and is equal to in a double quote m. Okay, now it is understanding that sex is a character variable. Okay, and it is holding the value will be of character type. Okay, let's check its mode. Okay, yeah, it is showing that character. It means that this m is being stored into the character type. Okay, and I'll tell you a very beautiful thing about it. Okay, so type of also will be of character type, and class. Okay, class will be also of character type, right? Now what the beautiful thing I wanted to tell you, like for example in the memory everything will be treated as a numeric value. Okay, everything will be treated as a numeric value. Okay, now confusion start. So then what is the difference, what is the meaning of character value? Okay, so as I'm telling that, let's suppose capital M is there. Okay, so you know that before what I told, like for example 64, okay, maybe 23, maybe 34, okay, 34, right, whatever the value is, this value will be converted into its binary format. Okay, 10 in that way, and in that way this will be stored as the form of electronic signal into the memory. But now suppose m is there. Okay, how this m will be converted into the binary format and should be stored into the memory? Okay, so now how these things will be converted into the numeric values, so that I can convert those things into the binary format and I can store those things into the memory, right? So this is the part you need to remember, which is called as ASCII ASCII encoding scheme. Okay, just for your knowledge purpose, I'm telling you ASCII encoding scheme. Basically, what it is doing, it is just converting all those character values into the numeric value by its specification. So there is a one guideline available, which is called as the ASCII encoding guideline. Okay, over there for each and every character values there is a some numeric value specified, and those numeric value will be treated as a character values. Okay, and those numeric value will be converted into the binary format, so that any of the character will be stored into the memory efficiently. Okay, in that way this character will be processed inside the machine. Okay, so now I saw that whatever the things you are specifying inside the double quote will be treated as a character values. Okay, and how character value will be stored into the memory? Character value will be stored into the memory using the ASCII encoding sheet. What is the ASCII encoding sheet? In the ASCII encoding sheet, basically all those characters are specified with their some numeric value, numeric versions, and those numeric versions will be taken from there and converted into the binary codes, and those binary code will be stored into the memory. In that way, a character will be processed inside the machine. Okay, these things you need to remember. Okay, this will help you out. Maybe in any of the scientific conference or anywhere you can put this kind of point, will give you the little edge. Okay, now character you understand. So another kind of data is called as string. Okay, another kind of data is called as string. So string is basically a combination of character is called as string. Okay, so combination of character is called as string. Let's suppose if I write maybe the country name, like for example Vietnam, okay, or maybe Sri Lanka. Okay, so here what I am writing, so I am just writing this is a one character, this is another character, another character. In that way all those characters are combined together. Okay, so if more than one character are combined together, they form a character set. Okay, and this character set is nothing but called as a string. Okay, so like for example Vietnam, Sri Lanka. Similarly, if I write over here apple, okay, any of the flower name over here. Okay, so these things basically called as string. Yeah, please go ahead. Any question?
Please, it was a mistake. I beg you.
Yeah, please go ahead. Okay, no problem. Yeah, perfect. No problem. So another type of data, basically now you understand that what is numeric values. Okay, so now you understand what is character values, and once a character values are combined together, they form a string. So a string is another kind of data. Okay, now another kind of data is called as logical. Okay, logical. So what is the logical values? Logical values, or you can say logical type of data. Okay, so those data which are presented using binary system. Okay, this is basically called as logical type of values. What it means by, so like for example if you ask someone, okay, marital status, are you married? Okay, so maybe person will respond yes or no. Okay, so this is the only two-way answer. Okay, this is the only binary answers. Either it will be yes, either it will be no. Right? Are you passed the exam? Okay, have you passed the exam? Okay, it may be yes or no. Right? So if you are having such kind of data which always be presented in two states, okay, either yes, either no, either true, either false. Okay, this type of data will be called as logical data values. Right? You can also present those values in the form of 1 and 0, 1 and 0. Okay, so there is a two states only. One state is called as yes state, one state is called as no state. So if you are having such kind of data, okay, where it is maybe in the survey, maybe in the questionnaire, this will be treated as a logical data type of values, and this value will also be handled differently. So like for example this looks like a numeric value to you maybe, okay, but this value are not really numeric. Okay, since this is a logical values, and logical values will be deal in a very different way. Okay, so like in our previous class I told you about two things. One is called as true. Okay, maybe let me make these things as a comment format. As I told you in our previous class about true and false. Okay, true and false. Two things I told. Okay, so what are the two things? So I told that true is by default having value 1. Okay, so if, because I told you that in machine 1 is represented as a power on state, and 0 is told as a power off state. It means that electronic signal 1 means power is on, electronic signal 0 means power is off. Right? So by default if true is written, so true is a logical value, and its meaning that it is having value 1. Okay, it means that if I will summed up two true values, okay, true plus true, it will give me 2. Okay, why it is giving me 2? It is because of that true is by default having value 1. Okay, 1 means this is a real state. Real state means this is a true value. Okay, so true means 1, 1 plus 1 is equal to true. Similarly false, false is having 0 state. Okay, 0 means 0. Right, 0 means power is off situation. So false plus false, 0 plus 0 will give you 0. Right, so this is the way how you can treat the this particular logical type of values. Right, so generally where we are using logical values, so during the data analysis activities if you are applying any filter. Okay, so like for example suppose you wanted to see the patients who are suffering from a specific kind of disease. Or suppose if you are looking, if you are trying to find out a specific group of people who are belonging to a specific age group. Okay, or you are just trying to do any data analysis activities for the male population or female population. Over there you will apply some filter. Okay, and those filter are basically gives you the output as a logical value. If they are giving you true, it means that you will able to perform this operation. If they are not giving true, it means that you are not able to perform that operation. In that way, this logical value will be used in our data analysis activities, right? So another kind of data is called as complex. Okay, so in general, this type of data is not being treated. Okay, but yeah, because this is all about going to do a data analysis activity or mathematical analysis. Okay, so complex values are basically those values which is having two part. One part is called as integer plus, okay, maybe numeric, plus imaginary. Okay, imaginary component. Imaginary component means what? So which component is coming with I symbol? Okay, so like for example here 2 plus 3i. This type of number will be treated as a complex number. Okay, so when you are dealing with such kind of numbers, okay, so this number will be called as complex number, right? So it is having two components. First component is called as simple numeric values. Second component is always comes up with the imaginary component, right? So if you are dealing with such kind of number systems, okay, so this is called as complex. So what the data type is having basically this type of number will be called as complex data type. Okay, so this is all about different types of data we are having. Okay, so maybe I can show you quickly for example of these things. So let's suppose I just store this value into the a variable. Okay, and if I will apply the mode over here, mode of a, okay, you can see it is telling me complex. It means that these things 2 plus 3i will be stored into the memory in the complex format. Okay, complex basically a format. This is not a tough situation I'm telling you. Okay, so 2 plus 3i basically a complex data numbers. Okay, and similarly how it will take the part into the mathematical operation. So let me write here type of a. So type of a, it will also use in the into the mathematical operation as a complex numbers, and class will be, outer layer will be of complex type. Okay, so complex number will be into this format. Yeah, please go ahead. Any question?
Yes, you see sometimes when you type some figures on a calculator, you receive some E at the end. Will you transfer that one to as a complex data on the
Yes.
calculator? Sometimes you see
Mm-hmm.
some you will see some letter, a particular E or so at the end of a particular
Okay, okay,
letter
okay,
number.
okay,
That one
okay,
is it also a complex?
okay, okay. You are telling that maybe not instead of I, you can also use 3e, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there is a difference between I and E over here. I and E. Let me clarify over here. So in the
Okay.
programming activities, like E will be treated as an exponent. Okay, exponential. Like for example, we are writing that e to the power 4. Okay, so e to the power 4 will be treated here in this programming e4. Okay, so it means that this is writing e to the power 4, right? Now similarly you can write it these things into this way, exponential of 4, right? Exponential of 4. So e is basically the symbol scientific notation of exponent values. Okay, 10 to the power 4 we are writing. So instead of writing 10 to the power 4, it is directly writing that e to the power 4. Okay, so e to the power 4 in this programming part I will treat as a exponent part. Okay, but this e is treated as a 10 to the power 4. Okay, but this part like exp of 4, this will be treated as a exponential to power 4. Okay, so like for example 10 to the power 4 can be written as 10 to the power 4, okay, is written as e4. Okay, but exponential e to the power 4 will be written as exp4, right? So this is basically a different format of numbers, and I is basically a imaginary component. Imaginary component in complex number. Okay, perfect. So up to this point, anyone have any doubt, any question? Okay, no problem. So now another topic is typecasting. Okay, so what is typecasting? So let me tell you about details about this particular functionality of R programming. Okay, so this is basically a general programming concept, typecasting. It means that changing the type of data from one type to another type. Okay, so what it mean by changing the data from one type to another type? So for example, as I told few minutes before, like type of is basically tells you that how these things will be come from memory and take a part into the operation. Okay, so like for example, let's suppose a is equal to, I written 23. Okay, so you told me that if I apply over here mode, okay, so it is telling me that it is numeric. I apply the type of, okay, I apply the type of, and by default a is telling me double, right? So how it is integer value? Okay, so for the integer value you can specify 23, and after in this 23 in suffix apply l. So if you run this, now if you check the type of, it will tell you integer, right? So how these things can be converted interchangeably, means how this thing 23 will be converted from one way to 23.0, or maybe 23.0, right, to 23. Okay, or maybe in a character format of 23 to numeric format, right, or maybe numeric format to double quote 23, right? So here what I am doing is I am just going from integer to double values. I am going from integer to double values. Here from double values I am moving to integer values. Here in this operation I am moving from character value to in numeric values. Here from numeric value to character values. Okay, also 1 to 1 to true, or true to 1. Okay, here numeric value to logical value, and here logical value to numeric value. Okay, similarly 1 similarly 1 to 1 plus 0 I, means numeric value to complex values. Similarly 1 plus 0 I to 1. Okay, so complex value to numeric value. So this is called as interchangeability. Okay, it means that you are just moving from one type of value to another type of values. These are sometimes very important operations you need to perform while data analysis activities. Okay, so for example, suppose you are capturing the data, like data of, like for example, sex, and you are capturing data like 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0. In that way you capture the data, right? So you saw that this is a numeric value and you just perform a mathematical operation, sex into 2. Okay, so is it possible that just to multiply this particular type of data into 2? Okay, this will not have any meaning. Okay, this will not have any meaning. So even though you are looking these values as a numeric values, but this is not a numeric value. Okay, this is simply an indicator. This is simply an indicator that 1 means something, 0 means something, right? So in that way, so how you came to this particular point? You came with this particular point after understanding about the types of data, right? Now suppose you are having values like for example age, and you are having age in a character format. Okay, like let's suppose age is being captured into the character format, let's say. Okay, so how you will deal with such situation? Because for age you wanted to calculate the mean, median, more standard deviation, whatever the statistical estimate you wanted to calculate, you wanted to perform. But right now you are seeing that age is having the values of this type, right? So if the values will be of this type, you cannot perform any mathematical operation into it. So you need to convert those things. It means that what type of operation you wanted to perform, you wanted to move from this type of values to this type of values. So how you will move from one type of data to another type of data? Okay, so very good function is available, which is called as dot. Okay, as dot. Okay, what it means by as dot? It means that make the variable, make the type of data into another type of data. So we have so many types of kind of change values. As dot integer. Okay, as dot integer. So whatever the value you will pass into this will be converted into the numerical format. As dot double. Okay, whatever the value you will pass it over here, this will convert into the double format. As dot character. Okay, This will convert all the value which you will pass over here. This will be converted into the character format as dot logical. Okay, so whatever the value you will store over here or write it over here, this will be converted into the logical format as dot complex. Okay, as dot complex. So whatever the value you will write over here, this will be converted into the complex format, right? How you will apply? Let me tell you about one by one. Okay, see here. So as dot integer. Let's suppose I write the value 23 point sorry 23.89. Okay, let's say I write in this way 23.8. Okay, so right now 23.8 is which type of value? This is of double type of value. This is of double type of values. So since I wanted to convert this double type of values into the integer format, so what I will write? As dot integer. So see here, it will convert 23. Oh, as dot integer. Oh, sorry, I will run whole. See here, now it is coming 23. It means that it is just to converting this value into the numeric format, integer format. How it is converting? It is just sealing the concept. Okay, it is just sealing the value or truncating the value and only keeping the integer part of this particular value. So this is the integer part and this is the float part. Okay, so it is just taking the integer part and in that way it is converting this value to 23 only, right? Similarly, let's suppose I have an integer over here. Okay, I have an integer over here. Now how it will convert this into double format? Okay, I will run it and see here this value is automatically be in the double format, right? So if I will check its type of as dot double. Okay, so it will show you double, right? Similarly, whatever the value I will write it over here. Let's suppose 23. 23 is the numerical values. I wanted to convert this thing into the character values. I will convert it. See here, automatically I write the numeric value of 23 over here. It is giving me back output as double quote 23. It means that now this is converted into the character format. I will pass the value 23 over here. It will convert it as a logical true or false. See here, it is converting true. Whatever the values I will specify except 0 will be treated as a true state, and whatever the value, if I will specify 0 over here, it will give me false, right? So except 0, whatever the value I will specify, okay, it will give me true, right? So it is just converting all numerical values, okay, into the two signals, true or false. Except 0, everything is true, only 0 is converted as a false. As dot complex, let me pass the value 23 over here and see here it is giving me output 23 plus 0 I. Okay, so in that way you can move from one type of data to another type of data. This is called as typecasting. Okay, so typecasting basically means that when you wanted to change your type of data from one data type to another type of data is called as typecasting. Okay, this is a very important concept you need to remember, because when you are importing the data from outsource, like maybe from databases, maybe from excel sheets, maybe from web. Okay, your data type might be changed. Okay, so if you are comfortable with such kind of functionalities, that how you can convert your data as your required format for data analysis, okay, you can convert it and you can perform the data analysis operations into that particular data. Okay, in that way this is very helpful function you need to remember, right? So one very important concept is left: which type of data you will convert in which type of data. Again, right, means what you can convert in a specific type of data. So like for example, suppose I written here apple. You cannot convert this data into the numerical data. Okay, apple cannot be converted into the numerical format. Okay, so always there will be a precedence that which can be converted. Okay, they are having their priorities. So like for example, integer can be converted into a double, double can be converted into the integer, but integer can be converted into a character, character cannot be converted into the integer always. Okay, so like for example, suppose if you are having 23, okay, character value 23, okay, inside the double quote, if you are having 23 in this way, this value can be converted into the numerical format as dot integer. Okay, this can be converted in the numerical format, okay, perfectly. But if you wanted to convert this, like for example, as dot integer and inside the apple, okay, it will not convert. Okay, it will give me nans. Ns means not applicable. Okay, this is not a, this will perform a forceful quotient. Okay, it means that forceful typecasting, but this will not perform at all, right? So this is all about typecasting. Okay, so now this is all about today's class. So I hope everything will be clear to everyone. But for sure, if anyone have any question or any doubt, maybe you can discuss. Any point, anything you are not sure about?